Hello again, Brian. This will be some video feedback for you on Milestone 2. But I'll also talk about 5.2 and 5.1 that preceded it. Brian, I went to bsev.net. I see that you have your own domain. Well, I remember that from the last milestone. And this is, looking well. I like the way that you have positioned things. You've been able to import photos and place them with some accuracy, too, which I'm assuming owes to your CSS. And I'll take a look at that. It looks like I don't know, this is not a transparent logo. What would be more flexible and adaptable would be for you to create a transparent version of the logo, preferably in a vector file format such as SVG or a single vector graphic. That will allow you to size it up or down and it will remain crisp and not pixelated. But also, too, it'll allow it to float over image or background transparently. Just a suggestion. You've been able to use the corporate typeface, Gaudy Old Style. Kudos to you. That's a difficult thing. Typographically, I like it. I like the direction. Be sure to use some padding, some cell padding, so that the type doesn't butt up next to images. That should be a pretty easy fix. And then be consistent about your heads. Are you going to center them, or are you going to have them flush left, rag right? I think having them both ways creates a little bit of a chaotic effect. Now I'm viewing this at, I think, probably about 70%, well, 33%. As I zoom in, here's what it looks like at 100%. Now my window is 760 by 10 something. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like at 100%, it's fairly large. Check it out on a variety of devices, including your cell phone. I see you've got child pages. That's neat. I think I've seen that. I haven't seen that before, the Google Maps, but hey, it works. And menu, I read your issues with the PDF browser, and all the windows and sliders that it introduces, and I understand you perfectly well. This is a great solution, and it allows you to sort of recycle your other work. Well, all the same, make sure that the typography of the menu or of the website resembles the typography of the menu, and they can inform each other as they do here. I wouldn't normally recommend a lot of borders or bars, but I see that you've used them effectively on your menu too, and so it makes a little bit more sense to have these rules, as we call them in typography, around some of your items. Brian, your overall design, I think, is friendly, it's clear, it's inviting, and just some attention to detail, I think, will elevate it. Consider a footer, too, and that would be where you put links to social media. It's not required, but it is, in fact, a part of every web page, footer. Brian, the purpose of designing wireframe sketches is to give a structure and rationale for placing page elements, images, text boxes, what have you. The idea is to return to your wireframe sketches, and I've shown them here, of week 3, and refine them to accommodate what you've now learned. And inevitably, you'll want to move towards accessibility and adaptability. And so for that reason, wireframes are purposefully vague because the user in some ways determines the layout depending on what device and what scale they have things set to view. Typographic hierarchy means what will the viewer see first, what will they see second, third, so forth. It also means what is the size relationship between the heads and the text. Is the navigation discrete enough, or does it overpower the content? And I see that you've tried to, or you've not tried, you've been successful in using the corporate typeface. So I think just details, settle on a way of aligning your heads either centered or flush left, rag right. In any case, make sure that you have some padding between your text and images. I like that you've bled images off the page. It makes for a much more appealing presentation. And if I hadn't seen your menu, I would probably have discouraged you from using these borders around your buttons. But it is, in a way, visually consistent. Brian, I see that you have an external style sheet, and when I go there, it's fairly extensive, but it's very clear. Rather than use the RGB equivalents, use the hex triplet color designations. They'll be closer to the corporate palette. Good job, though, in having a single external style sheet. Brian, I see that you've uploaded an end image or screenshot of code validation. Good going on that. That's all the rubric asked for. The other thing was, had you been able to upload it? And I see that you have to your own domain, and we've talked or discussed that, I think, earlier. Brian, I see that you have some browser testing too, and this is Firefox and Chrome. This is fine way to do it. What this is assuring me is that you're able to use that the typeface, the corporate typeface, the Gaudi old style shows up in both browsers, and that's a real accomplishment. So I think I'll leave off here as your milestone 2 feedback. Great job. You've got 2 weeks to refine it. Don't hesitate to call me if you need any, or contact me if you need any more clarification or critique.